Hey, we
Hey,
are
what's going
live.
on? What's
We
going on?
are live. We are live. It's 7 o'clock on the dot. It's 7 o'clock on the dot. I'm in my drop top, cruising the streets. Y'all don't know nothing about that. That's
Oh,
before.
yes, we do.
We're gonna let some folks come in right now, and we're gonna do it like this. And we just been sitting here talking backstage and having fun and trying to get, trying to get relaxed and trying to get all this communication and this network together because man, I've been having technical difficulties all week. I'm on another
Mhm.
right now. I'm trying to
Okay.
and man, it's just when it goes wrong, it goes wrong. Myers is on. What's up, baby? What's up, Mike? Are you going, Mike? Are you going to the desert this weekend? I can't make it, but let me know the next time y'all go, and I'm gonna be here. Okay, we getting people on the line. We want to go ahead and introduce yourselves. Thank you. Thank you. I'm Stephen Pierce. I am the Doctor of Love. And I want to thank you guys for coming out. If you guys have any love and relationship um, what was that? Any love or relationship questions, ask them right now. We'll get one. And Mike, ask us a question. I see you, Skylar. Go ahead and Larry, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell them who you are.
My name is Larry Bird, and my background is, yeah, when it comes to our subject today, I'm an energy healer and therapist. I've done a lot of study in behavior sciences, and that's really my passion is healing, behavior sciences, and really being able to help people to and aid them in the process of elevating their life condition.
All right. All
All
right.
right.
And my beautiful co-host. Come on.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Michael, Schuyler, and whoever else that may come on. I'm Linda Streeter, as you all know. I am a marriage and family therapist, and I'm an author. Written a couple of books. Loving the Art of Manifesting Love, and the other one is The Power of Conflict. So we need to learn how to love, and we certainly need to learn how to resolve our differences in relationships. And that's pretty much it. I do life coaching, relationship, and behavior coaching.
Okay, there we
That
go.
is hi.
And that's what this is about. It's about bringing us closer, bringing men and women and our relationships together.
Together.
Yeah,
Together. Because men are from where? Mars, and women are from Venus or something like that.
That's what they
Don't
say.
think the same.
No, go
Think the
back.
same.
Go,
Nope. So
go
we gotta
back.
get on the same level.
It's
And that's
dead.
all it's about, is getting us on the same
It's dead.
level. So many times this week, probably 3 or 4
Close the
times,
door back, please.
somebody asked me, what do I think love is? what I, you know what? Really, love is a feeling. To me, love is a feeling. That's what it is. But at the same time, I tell them, I am love. I am love. I exude. I put love out in the air. You know what I'm saying? When I walk around, you'll see me. Everybody's like, "Dang, Steve, you're so happy all the time." That's love. To me, emotion, just the way you act, the way you treat people is love. So, can one of you guys fill in for that?
go ahead, Linda.
Uh, yes, you know what? I will. I'll talk about it because for me, the very first definition, or the definition that I use even in my book, where I talk about love, is found in First Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. And I think it's a good depiction of love because love is more than a feeling. Yes, while there are the wrong feelings, and then from a biological perspective, love in that fashion is healing for our bones, for our soul, for our heart. You know, it brings light to us. But then when we get a little different past the feelings, because we know every day we don't wake up with those feelings. But what really is love? Love is patient, it's kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres.
Yes.
Love never fails.
Yeah. Love is
So
forgiveness.
when you look at love from that perspective, that is the love that God has given us, the agape love. And two things you need for a romantic relationship to succeed. You need agape love because that's loving you in spite of your faults and your shortcomings. And then of course, I need to like you. I need to like to be around you. I mean, I have to see you as my partner, as my friend.
Right, right, right.
But agape love covers a multitude of faults and sin. That's what love is. So it's more than just a feeling.
It's so beautiful because every time I'm on here listening to you or my other guests, I'm here to learn, man. And you learn something on here every day. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a beautiful thing. You know what? You can fill in anytime you want, Larry. Just jump right on in, and we're here. So, if you got something to say, you can go ahead, or I can move on. I'm gonna stick with this, but just this is conversation. This is conversation because we're waiting on questions. Y'all get your questions in. But sometimes, are you gonna say something?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Love is more than just a feeling. Love is a knowing. So when we talk about love, it's more than one component. Because when we have the feeling and the knowing, then when we have a problem with one or the other, when our feelings are bad, then we have a knowing, and then when our knowing is not so, um, I can say natural, then we can lean on our feelings. So it's more than just a feeling; it is a knowing. But that starts long before we get here. It is definitely a spiritual part of who you are. And just like Linda said, that happens in the womb. I remember my mother, when I was being born, she said that I had a cousin and that he was a beautiful baby and she wanted a baby just like that. My mother loved children. So when I came here with love already, as a part of my DNA. So growing up in my environment, it was a lot of love. Uncles were there, cousins were there, brother was there, grandmother was there. And it takes a village to really teach a child what love is really about.
Yeah.
So love is um, love is a journey. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, or you meet a person and all of a sudden you're in love. That's not how it works. First, love starts with yourself, an intrapersonal relationship. If you don't love yourself, then you can't give what you don't have. And that's, to me, that's the basis, what love is about. It is a vibration. It is an energy. And there is a level that once you uh, get out of the lower worlds and you start to elevate, then you begin to have a better understanding of who you are, how you operate. Love has a lot to do with behavior. How are you behaving? And I think that's where it starts, is in your behavior. That's something that you have to look at yourself, your own reflections, to see how you are behaving in a situation. So love is definitely not based on just one or two things. There's a lot that go into the process of manifesting love.
Right. Love is like it's a lot of times it's just misunderstood. A lot of people don't understand what love is because a lot of people's, when people have to ask you, or do you love me? Like, why are you asking me that? You got a roof over your head, you driving a nice car, you doing this. Some people think love is material things. Love is not material. It's from your heart. You could tell when somebody loves you when they treat you well. I would never ask anybody I would never ask Linda, do you love me, Linda? I said, I don't have to ask Linda that because I know I can feel that she loves me. So I don't need to ask her that. So that's why I said love is a feeling, you know, and it is, like you said, it's a knowing. So I know both of y'all love me. So I only have to ask you, do you love me? Nah. So get away from that, people. Get away from that.
Yeah.
You know when people love you. You know when people love you. So don't ask questions you already know, you know, unless you just conversate, you know, and have fun. But
yeah. Well, I think it helps to understand the type of love we have for each other. You know, that I think that's where the mix up at. Because I've heard people say, well, I love my ex or current or my wife or whoever the case may be, a husband, but I'm not in love with them. What are they saying in that? So what you hear in that most often is that there is a love for the individual as it pertains to what we talked about in in the scripture there that says that love is kind, is patient, you know, and all of these things. But that's the foundation to all love, because I can love you but not be in love with you. So when you look at, and I tend to lean toward, you know, the definitions just to help us define what we're talking about when we say love. Because as you say, I love pie, you know, chocolate cake or whatever, and I love you. That's two types of love I have. It's not the same love for food that I have for the person. So, you know, it's important to understand that, because when a person says that they love you, they may not be in love with you, but they love you enough to care about your well-being, to be kind to you, to be a service if they can help you out with anything. That kind of love there is a little different from eros love. So
right.
in the Greek definition, it gives of eros love or erotic love, which is the romantic and passionate love that two people, male and female, or whatever, people have in an intimate relationship. It describes desires and obsession, and is most similar to what we think of as romantic, passionate love. And then when
Okay.
you look at when you look at filial love, this is intimate, authentic friendship love, when you just love someone as a friend. And you
Right.
know, and so
I got a question for you, Larry. Can
Sure.
you love more than one person?
I really believe you can. And love has a definition that doesn't go along with cake and pies and things. So I can say I like a food a lot, but I don't love food or love this or love that, because that doesn't really define love. So love can have all these different definitions. If they do, then it's not love. So love has a specific definition, just like any other word. Of course, there's different contexts in which you can use the word, but I think it's used loosely. You know, it's just thrown out there. I love this. I love that. You know, I don't personally think that's love. I think that you have to really uh, get a good understanding of what the actual word mean. And then you have to exercise that. And you can't say in a partner relationship, well, I love them, but I'm not in love. That's confusing. You know, I can say I love a person intimately. That is saying, you know, that's giving it some meaning. So I don't think that love goes along with things and pies and this, because that's not what love is. Love is, you know, a lot more substance. That those things are very superficial. That means people say, I love my car. So what kind of
they do.
love do you have? How do you define what love is to you? It's definitely not the cake and the pie. I mean, it's a
But
lot more than that.
there are different categories though of
Yeah,
love.
it has to be.
There are
What do
Yeah,
you
so,
mean?
so
What do
many
you
different categories.
how,
Because I know men that love their cars more than they love their woman, and that
well,
car
how
is
can that be? How can that be when the car can't give you something back? The cake can't give you. See, love is a two-way street.
Is it?
Yeah.
No.
Yes. If a person say they love you, more than likely you love that
So let
person.
me ask you this: are you speaking to romantic love between two people only?
No, I am not. I am saying that if I say I'm intimate with you, then I'm saying that that is a different kind of love. But I'm not saying that my love is a car because a car can't give it back. Love is
Okay.
something that has to come back to you. You
Okay,
know,
no, but what I'm trying to understand, Larry, when we say you can't use love in all these other categories, my question of what I'm trying to understand, and maybe the listeners, I don't know if they have comments they can make them, you
right.
know, is that the only time we can refer to love when you're talking about two people? We can't love cake, we can't love a car, or like our car. I mean, it's a different
I,
type of love
well,
than what
that's
you
why I
have
say,
for, and then like I love my children, but it's not the same love I would have for an intimate partner.
but we know that that is natural. That's like Dr. Love say, that's not something you really have to say. It's good for you to tell me because I may have questions. I may have some doubt going on. Doubt is always there. So, you know, so to clear up the doubt, it's okay for you to say, you know what? I love you intimately. So I say love has to have, I love my cake. I don't think that the reason we throw love around like it's just, you know, oh, that we can put it with anything. I think that that's confusing. In America, we do that. We try to make all these different categories for something that only have one category because why? Because we don't know the meaning and we don't exercise it.
So what
Love is
is your
something you
meaning?
have to exert yourself.
I love
You know,
this right here. What is your meaning of love? First of all, Johnny Johnson, I apologize. I'm sorry. You're my hero. Johnny Johnson said he's gonna get me. He's after me. That's our black quarterback at the University of Illinois. He told me he's looking for me. I'm sorry in front of everybody. But what is your meaning for love? Because it's like you put love in a box. Love can only be from you. Love can only be between a man and a woman.
that's not true.
That's what
That's what you're
that's what
saying.
you're saying.
That's what it
That's not what
sounds
I'm
like. You're,
saying.
but
That's
yeah,
not what
but
I'm saying.
so
I said this. I said that I can love you and I can say, Linda, I love you. But if I'm intimate with you, then that is not necessarily a different kind of love. I mean, love is love, but we can show it. I can show love to you in a different way. I can say I love you with a hug. I can say I love you in a whole in a more intimate way. But I don't think that love should be just thrown around like that because you can say you love somebody, you really don't love them.
Yeah,
I,
because
I,
okay.
I can say I love
Oh,
you, but I don't
oh.
like you. Is that can I do that?
Well,
yeah,
see,
I say that all the
I can say that you love me, but you love me in a different way than you would your partner. When
Like I
Stephen
said,
says, I love you, Linda, I know it's not the same love he has for Janine, for
so
his wife.
you know that.
But
So,
again, hold on a minute
uh-huh,
though. We're
right,
just saying again in our daily conversations. It's
right.
if people don't understand what it means or that you can only use love in one category, that's it goes back to the thing I was talking about earlier. Their love is defined in different categories. That's a different type of love you have for your parents than you do for people out there. So, those categories that I mentioned, it's just that. And agape love is the center of all of it. I don't think we can love someone romantically, be committed to them, and stay true to them, to love them according to those vows we talk about through the thick and the thin, the good and the bad, and all of this here until death do you part, riches or poor. That's the foundation of the love that God commanded all of us to have. But now, when you step outside of that, if I'm in love with my man, I have agape love. That's an automatic to be kind to him or whatever. But
Okay.
then back to the whole thing of a
Mm-hmm.
person telling you that they love you, but they're not in love with you. I perceive that as being I love you, but I'm not in love with you romantically or from an erotic perspective or
So
eros perspective.
you know
Or I
what?
love
That
my
makes sense.
sons. I love my
Mhm.
son from a
A
philia
mother,
perspective, but I'm
a
not in
mother
love with them.
perspective. Yeah, a
Okay.
mother perspective. That's why I'm saying that it's not in a box. But you know, I think if I looked in Webster dictionary and how love is defined, I'm sure cake is not in there.
But,
I'm sure
but
that.
what you said is
Let me finish. Let me finish. Because we have to have a definition for what it truly means. I mean, we can't just come up with our own definitions because we weren't the one that decided that love meant a certain thing.
Well,
So,
the one I read came straight out of the scripture as to what love was.
well, I'm talking about everybody don't read scripture.
Oh, I'm
everybody.
just
So
telling you. That's
Well,
true.
everybody
let
don't
me
read
tell you
scripture. Okay,
That's
something.
true.
everybody don't read scripture.
Let me tell you something. Hey, let me tell you what Phil Morton says. Phil Morton said, my hero in Philly. I think he's in Philly or something like that. He says, love is
A commandment and not
love
a
is a
feeling.
commandment, not a feeling. God
God
commanded
commanded
us
us to love one another.
one another. And
Okay,
Johnson
now,
said love is a verb.
right? It
Uh,
is. It's
Lauren,
action. It's action.
love unconditionally or what? Unconditionally
You
or
can
in
love unconditionally or in
love.
love.
Okay. But you said earlier you can't be in love with something that don't love you back. And we can make up stuff because Linda said
You,
like chocolate cake.
you said love is a feeling. You
Love
said love is a feeling,
cake.
right?
In my mind, I can say chocolate cake loves me back because I love it. You know, it's giving me that feeling. You know what I'm saying? It's giving me that great sweet feeling.
You know what chocolate cake can give you? Diabetes. So, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that. I'm talking about, I can love cake all I want to, but now I got to take insulin. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about when I'm saying
Let's
when
move
it
on.
comes.
Let's move on. I got a question for you, Larry. I love you, dude. I'm telling you, I love you because this is good. Because what makes this great is we don't agree. I love it. I love
There
it.
you go. There you go.
Let me see. Let me see. Can you answer this? What is emotional intelligence?
Okay, emotional intelligence. I would say emotional intelligence starts where it starts. I think it's a spiritual, you know, it's a spiritual emotion. I think it actually come, like I said before, you even get here. Your mother who carries you, the way that she is doing her pregnancy, if she is going through a lot of strife, uh, as opposed to not going through a lot of strife, when the baby gets here, the baby is going to have whatever that is that mama went through because the baby's connected directly to you. So if you have some emotional things going on, you got to know the baby is going to come here like that. So emotional intelligence boils down to me being able to communicate. In America, we don't have classes when you're a kid to teach you how to communicate. When you teach me how to communicate, then, I can, on an intellectual level, understand that. Now, this is what I mean. We have, like you said, behavior. Our behavior has everything to do with our intelligence. And emotionally, if I'm going through a relationship and something happened and I decide that, oh, this is not working for me. But to me, that means your emotional intelligence is not stepping back and saying, hey, let's see, what is the issue here? Let's come together and let's talk about this so that we can compromise this situation. We may need to go to a counselor and have someone explain to us, what's going on, because we weren't given that kind of communication, we don't have that kind of communication. And that's why so many relationships in America don't work. They don't work because we don't know how to have a relationship. It's something that was here long before me. So the only discovery I can make is me. I can't discover anything else because it's already been discovered. So I become conscious of what is emotional intelligence. And like I said, that's not something that's just going to happen overnight. That's something you have to study. That's something you have to internalize. That's something you have to exert yourself doing. If I want to be a professional basketball player, I guess just can't talk about it. I got to get out there and do the work. Well, love and that type of love, it takes work, and I think it starts with an intra-personal relationship, and that's where the whole idea of the emotional love come from. So it's an intellect. It is something that we have to actually learn, exert, and then we can manifest this through our emotional intelligence.
Okay, okay. Hey, hey, as Pam Taylor is saying, Linda, your face is priceless. Good. She said your face is priceless because I'm looking at your face and I'm like,
because I'm trying to. Okay,
you ready to get in there, Linda?
I'm trying to follow because.
Me too. I want to.
Okay, because from what I know, emotional intelligence is on a scale as when you say your IQ is your intellectual quotient. EQ is your emotional quotient. And so when you measure someone's,
you're absolutely correct.
When you measure someone's IQ, it basically tells us how smart they are, on this scale that's been established. Emotional intelligence is categorized as the same way when it comes to your EQ. And what it does is that it refers again to a person's capacity to be aware of, control, and express their emotions and to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously and empathetically. In other words, we have the ability to perceive and use, understand, and manage our emotions in ways that are healthy, meaning that we can give healthy love, we can empathize with people, we can sympathize with people, but we have the characteristics of a person who is emotionally sensitive yet in control of their emotions. So no more of all of the craziness that comes along with what we call love, or someone who has a blow up. That's a lack of emotional EQ in those situations. So we're talking about our own self-awareness, our own self-regulation, our motivation, and again, ability to empathize, as well as our social skills. How do we culminate that we can handle any situation and maintain your cool, and you can love in ways that's not filled with jealousy, rage, or whatever the case may be, or control, because you don't live from a place of fear. So emotional intelligence is about having a proper control and being able to express your emotions in interpersonal relationship judiciously and empathetically.
You know what? I think we're saying the same thing. When I say intellect, we're talking about emotional, intellectual. So we're not talking about anything else outside of that. So a person, myself, who is behavior science, I'm also a emotional behavior therapist as well. And I have, had the opportunity to kind of like be the normie around 99% of the people who had some type of emotional condition. And I've had the opportunity to work with people who have severe emotional uh, conditions. And what I found out was working with them was that those people didn't get what they needed. A lot of them just didn't get it. And people say, well, what's wrong with that person? Well, I found out with working with them and doing therapy with them that it was a vibration. I brought my energy in there and my energy is based on love. That's what I call myself, like Dr. Love. Doctor of Love. I'm the same way. My vibration is that because I've manifested it to be that through certain modalities. I had to get in tune with what that is. And
Mm-hmm.
so and so for me to go through the whole idea of taking a look at my vibration, how I'm vibrating in a situation, what I'm putting out there, that to me is when you start to really get a clearer understanding about your emotion. You're looking at your behavior. So
Okay.
until you can really look at you and say, hey, the relationship didn't work. When a relationship don't work with me, I look at me first. I don't look at the other person. I look at me and I take a look at me and say, hey, what did you do in the relationship that didn't make it work? And then I find out what I need to do when I go into the next relationship. I know that there's behavior that has to change. I know words have to change. Routines have to change. So, in becoming knowledgeable of what we're talking about, it's not, you can't give what you don't have, you know? Uh, so, all of this, like you talk about acting out and, not being able to handle the situation, that has to do with our emotional intelligence. And we don't do that to ourselves. We don't come here like that. We get things from people around us,
Mm-hmm.
people who we're around, people we connect ourselves to. And when you become conscious that, oh, this is not
So
healthy.
before we go into how before we get to what causes low EQ and
Hmm.
how we raise the vibration to higher EQ, I want to
Hmm.
read a couple of comments there, because
Sure.
you're going into that space there with how do we develop our emotional intelligence,
Sure.
and what has happened that some people have weakened emotions. But because I want to read Pam's comment here, she stated
Okay.
that she says, what is emotional intelligence, or EQ? Emotional intelligence, otherwise known as emotional quotient, or EQ, is the ability to understand, use, and manage your own emotions in positive ways to release stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, overcome challenges, and diffuse conflict. Hmm. Emotional intelligence helps you build stronger relationships, succeed at school and work, and achieve your career and personal goals. If it can also help you, it can also help you connect with your feelings in terms of intention. Very, very true. So that's the longer definition of it, but that's what we're talking about. Now we know that if you put it on the Richter scale of what's normal, what's low emotional EQ, then the question becomes, how do we get to a place of low EQ?
How do we get to a place of low
Low
EQ?
EQ. And I heard you say something about you didn't come into the world that way. You came into the world where there was love in the environment. And then the other question was, how do you raise your vibrations to have stronger emotional or higher level of emotional intelligence?
I think that the lower level of emotional intelligence is the fact that you just don't know. When you don't know, you just don't know. So to me, those are the lower levels of emotional intelligence because you're just not educated in the idea, or you don't have the environment around you or individuals to actually clue you in on what that is. So when you don't know something, when you're ignorant to it, to me, that's the low level of emotional intelligence. You just don't know.
Okay. Do
Um,
you do you believe that sometimes people can go through trauma in life that minimizes their emotional intelligence, whereby there's fear or other
are
trauma?
you saying that they become uh, insensitive to just the whole ideal of the human connection?
Not that they're insensitive to it, but it could be provoked or fostered by a lack of love or empathy, or maybe some form of childhood abuse.
Absolutely. And so to me that means that the parents' emotional intelligence is low. And that's all they can give. Can't give what you don't have. So if all I have as a parent is low emotional intelligence, then more than likely my child is gonna have the same.
Okay, so how does one develop emotional intelligence?
Definitely awareness of behavior has a lot to do with saying, hey, there is something going on here and I want to find out about it. So I become curious about my behavior because I'm like, wow, why am I behaving that way? But that's consciousness. So uh, first, you have to become conscious of the fact that you do have a condition. I don't call things, I call things conditions because, it's like the weather. It's just a condition. It rains and then the sun shines. So
Mhm.
I believe that when we become conscious of that, then we can start seeking that. And there's so many different levels that can help you get there. So uh, I'll say how I got there. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes. Make it plain so they can understand.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I'm lost. I'm like, yo.
I'll make it plain for you. I can just get into it, whatever it is. I'm just,
No,
that's what's
tell
up.
tell
So
them how you got there. I think that would be a good example of
like
how
like
you develop
like
emotional EQ.
I'll tell you how I get in touch with it, definitely emotional EQ. Like I said, I grew up around it, so it was kind of automatic that I knew what it was. But I had to define it for myself. And so, being a person who had my condition, a condition of seizures, um, there was a lot of times, you have a seizure and people think you're weird, you're crazy. I had to go through that kind of, um, I would have to say, um living. I had to go through that as a child growing up. So, in doing so, it kind of made me not love myself because I wasn't the same as everybody else. Even though I grew up in love, I had a condition that wouldn't allow me to be like everybody else. So, because of that, I had to find out about how to love myself. So, uh, so after taking a look at my behavior, I saw that I was getting angry about things. I was conscious of the things that were happening because of my condition. So I needed to go further than just religion. So I decided to go further than religion. I grew up in religion. My father was a minister, my uncles were ministers, my cousins were ministers. I grew up in the company of people who were living Christianity. They weren't just talking about Christianity. I saw them live it every day, and I saw the miracles that they performed because of it. Because of me being in that environment, and they talked about, my parents talked about consciousness, they talked about these kind of things. And so when I decided to go out, I needed to go past religion, uh, because my condition had to, uh, I had to go somewhere else. And I did. That's what I did. I went somewhere else. And I decided that the modern man was messed up. I say, man, I'm messed up. Modern man, my life was about getting money, having the cars, getting the house with the white picket fence. You know, that's what was it about. And so I decided that I wanted to be more than that. So in order to do that, I had to get more knowledge. So I erased the hard drive and all the things that I'd learned. And I went another direction because why? We have the ability to do that. We have the ability to make a transformation. So I knew that's what I wanted to do. So
that's cool. That's cool.
but
We have to move on because we only have what 20 minutes left. Let's
okay.
move on. I want people to understand and kind of know who you are, what you really are.
Right.
You're giving. What do you explain to what you're giving away? You're giving away life bags or something like that for
right now, my company, one of my companies, Disability Dreamweavers.
There you go.
Disability Dreamweavers is all about helping to make people's dreams come true. And like I said, I'm a prevention specialist, very conscious of what's happening. Right now, my initiative is disaster preparedness, and disaster preparedness for the disabled, for single moms, and for the elderly. And I've already started actually doing workshops with children. And the whole idea is to prepare people for a disaster. It's like you are preparing your life. So I give out go bags to children, single moms, and also to the elderly. 62% of San Diego is not prepared for disaster. Mothers don't have go bags in their cars or first aid kits. So, so when you talk about love, this is true love.
Hey, what's in those bags? Can you explain what's in the bags? So you know, people like you they don't know. They don't know what's.
It's a survival bag. You know, it has just like if you was in the military and you had to go out and all you had was a survival pack. If there's a disaster, and let's say you're on the street and it happened, you can't go anywhere. Well, if you have your go bag, then you have food, you have water, you have first aid, you have a radio, you have a scanner, you have these, you have the tools that you need along with the skills to be able to survive through at least 72 hours. And normally in about 72 hours, someone will either find you or, you know, you'll find your way where you need to go. But the ideal is that this is self-love. When you prepare yourself for something that could happen, that you know it's going to happen, it's happening everywhere, especially now we have a worldwide disaster. Are people prepared? No. Are people reading about it? A lot of people are not. They're afraid of what's happening because why? Because they're not educating themselves. So me being a guy who's conscious of the fact that this is happening, this is what I'm bringing to the community.
Okay.
Even building an actual Red Cross, so people will have a place to go and learn about, you know, preparing themselves for disasters, shelters.
That's good.
That's what I do.
Helping. That's a beautiful thing because I know people who give backpacks. I give bikes for Christmas. I give tablets. Man, it's a beautiful thing. But I want to get Linda in here. Linda, okay, if I got an issue, let's just say I got an issue with my wife. And I just, whatever it is, when I come to a session with you, or if I call you and say, yo, we got issues, what would the first thing you would tell us if we're sitting at the table right across from you, if we're both having problems? And how would you figure out, you know, I'm going to complain about something and she going to complain about something. How do you cipher through, you know, who's wrong and who's right? Do you say, yo, Steve, you wrong? Or do you say, yo, you right? What do you do, actually?
I think being an effective therapist is that you're going to listen to both parties' narrative.
Absolutely.
And then you reframe what you've heard. Stephen, I heard you say A, B, C. Janine, I heard you say A, B, and C. And then from that point there, I would have you all draw some type of meaning from what the other person's message was. Resolving issues and conflicts require what's called active listening. mean that I need to listen from a place of empathy and meaning,
Absolutely.
because everything you say may not be bad. Maybe it was just what I construed it to be, or maybe what you intended to do, your particular behavior, could have been just my perception of it. So it gives parties an opportunity to express what they really mean. Now, sometimes issues can go ongoingly, and they get really deep. And there, because there are layers of problems that may have started 10 years ago that sometimes couples don't always deal with it. You kind of sweep it under the carpet. We keep going, and then we do the tick for tat. We blame the other. Well, what about you when you did this? Or what about you when you did that? So then we get to the dialogue where I first of all to teach them how to listen to each other, and then secondly, one of the greatest things that I've talked about is that when you are communicating, how we communicate to bring a deeper meaning to what we mean. And then sometimes there are parties who actually need to see a picture of what their relationships look like. So I may, in those cases too, do an assessment to that measure them their perception of their relationship, from money to communication to how they deal with conflict to how they parent if there are issues on that area, how their mindset on marriage and how they see friendships, which may create a problem. So before you can come with a solution, you must understand what both parties feel the problems are. And then from that, they're usually able to start working on what they believe would be the solution to solve the issue. So
Right.
that would usually it.
Yeah. Do you believe people come to you um, because they don't know what relationships are truly about? Because it seems like sometimes when you get in young, you're gung ho and you don't know what's going to happen in the future. So later on, it changes, and you're like the person like, I didn't know, I didn't know it was going to be like this. It gets kind of boring, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because when you marry somebody, you're in it for the long haul. They don't understand what it changes. They don't know what's happening at the end of the road. They're just gung ho and love each other right now. We having good sex, we having good relationship, but then it slows down. Do you think people, when they say they grow apart, do you think that's what it is, that is like they have no clue of what the ending is supposed to look like?
Well, I think first of all that people, and I think I've said this before on here. First of all, I think people get married with hidden expectations, almost like
Mhm.
this fairy tale expectation that we're going to be loved, and love is going to be beautiful, and
Mhm.
we don't plan for what is inevitable. And that's that part of us that's hidden. Because now, when people are all in love and seeing the butterflies, a lot of times they're seeing that person that physical person. But we don't understand, Freud talks about only 10% of us, the conscious part of us, is what we function out of. That's the person you know. But then once we come together, the other 90% of me start to surface. And when that 90% start to come about in various aspects of the relationship, whether it's how I deal with money, whether there's some silent trauma down there that I was never healed from, and I may have my own little phobias around it, my fear, my jealousies around it. And then one person's fear may be how the money, because they grew up in lack, and how they spend money, how they handle money. And then one person may have issues with parenting and how the parenting style.
Your
So
size.
so the expectations of this being my knight in shining armor has turned into he's not meeting any of my needs. So I think that's number one that
Right.
happens in relationship. We people come together with unspoken expectations, and when things don't go the way they expected them to go, that's when the problem starts. And then in most cases, both parties are having problems with that. So I
Right,
think
right. They
You
start.
know, Linda said something earlier, and um, I think that when you go into a relationship and you go before God and you say, till death do us part, you know, you got to take that serious. I took that very serious. And unfortunately, my wife passed away. But I took that very serious, and I was going to be there until death did us part, no matter what, because my word is everything I have. It's the only thing I have. So for me, it was very serious. I wanted to only get married once, and I've only been married once, but uh, I took it very serious,
Yeah.
and I said I'm doing this and before God in this religion, and so I think that what happened to people is that they don't really sit down and take a look at these words and know that these words mean something, and we're just not just saying these words. We have to get a meaning of these words so we can help each other manifest this relationship. Just because we get married, that doesn't mean that everything is taken care of. We're going to grow, we're going to get older. So how are we working together in order to manifest this relationship so that it can work for us, and it can grow? So
So you're talking
when
about
we
love.
huh
Love changes. You see what
no
you
people change, love stays the same. I think that people change, not love.
well, people change, but love grows with that change. Love attaches itself to your change. Because when I married you, you were a small, little, innocent woman, and that's what I love. Now you're getting bigger. Now my love is getting just hugging and attacking the bigness of what she is. That's love. Love changes also. Everything
You
changes.
think you think so? You think that you changed because in the beginning you was one way, now you're another way. So I think that feelings change. Feelings are the things that, you know, today I love you, tomorrow I hate you, the next day I love you. So I don't think that love had changed at all. I think you went through the changes, and because of that, your emotional intelligence doesn't allow you to go any further because what do they say? You hit the ceiling. So now you got to go to Linda, and Linda is going to help you to elevate your life condition because she's going to show you that love didn't change. You changed.
Okay.
Love is still the same.
Hey, Gina Gina says, Larry, um, does that mean you're not gonna marry again?
No, it does not. It means to me that I learned a lot about more not being married than when I was. Because, like you said, I was young, a rock star. I was doing my thing. It was cool that my wife was my greatest fan. She was there all the time, no matter where I was or what I was doing. Uh, she was definitely my dream girl. So, most people don't get what they're looking for in a relationship or a marriage. I got what I wanted. And so, because of that, we were able to uh, pay attention to each other, and we grew. We grew together instead of growing apart. So, yeah, I look forward to getting married again, but I've studied relationships. I know who I am. I got that interpersonal relationship going on with me first, and love myself. And because of this, I know how to love a woman now. I grew up with that kind, but you have to yourself, you have to figure it out. But I know, how a man is supposed to love a woman and how a woman is supposed to love her man. So because of that, if I get married again, I know what's up.
All right, that's what's up. What do you have, Linda? What do you have? I say, hey, Lisa Marie. Hey, can you say hi to some comments? Because for some reason I can't.
Okay.
Scroll
so,
over.
From in terms of comments, Pam. Okay, let's just kind of go up, and I will read some of the comments.
I'm
We
way
got 6 minutes. We got 6 minutes.
Right. Mm-hmm. that was some questions or disagreements around some of what had been said earlier. Pam said, well, Pam gave a definition. Then our friend Lee, Pam said, "No, Larry, you didn't articulate the definition of emotional intelligence. It was a very convoluted explanation." Lee says, "Pam Taylor, I disagree. I think him and Linda clarified it, but different ways." And Lee said they both mentioned intellectual. That was in intellectual. And then if we go down a little bit, oh yeah, by the way, Lee thinks you're smooth, Larry. Pam, Pam said we were all lost because the answer did get a little.
I was lost. I was lost for a while. I was lost.
I was too. Like, yeah, like really, really far around. And I thought we were
too deep for me. That was a little bit too deep.
Cheryl just said good evening, and let's see, Pam Taylor Lee, he took us out. Oh, okay, go down a little bit.
At least let me say, because I saw it earlier, but I can't scroll up for some reason.
And Gina wanted to know what was today's topic, and so basically, Gina, today's topic was just on the word love again, because that seems to be the buzzword everywhere in our relationship. People are looking for love. And so we started out by talking about what love is. And we were going to talk, and we talked about emotional intelligence, which is part of our ability to love, our capacity to love. Yes. And then lastly, we were going to talk about what do we need to do to fix some things. That was my last question to Larry about how we fix things. But he gave us, he was a little wordy on that. So I'm not sure what the steps are, other than the fact of being consciously aware of your emotions. And then from that, educating yourself. How do you become emotionally stronger in your relationship? But first of all, for yourself. And I think that everyone has to get a good understanding of what love represents for them, like, self-love first, and then being able to love someone else. But what does love mean for you? And as I say, there's a toxic kind of love, and then there's really a godly kind of love. And the toxic kind of love is the jealousy and the control, the abuse, and you can't do this and you can't do that. But when we start talking about the godly kind of love, this is when we produce love, kindness, gentleness, peace, happiness, good feelings. But anyways, we talked about it. So I don't know.
We talked about everything. We talked about it, but this is what I want. I want y'all to be prepared. Like I said, I mentioned last week, I think I was muted last week. Linda wouldn't let me talk last week. So, hey, I want you guys to get ready. We're going to start a dating game. So anybody want to sign up to be on a dating game? I don't know if you remember the dating game back in the 70s. So we're going to bring on one female and 3 guys, and let the female pick the guy she want to go out with, and we're going to pay for a date for you to go out. Then it's going to be 1 guy and 3 females. So if y'all want to sign up, inbox me. Hey, this is gonna be fun. We're here to have fun.
And don't forget, same with the guy. If there's a guy who wants to go on a date, then we'll bring 3 females, or vice versa, 3 men on for them to ask questions.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yes, that's what it's about. Okay.
I like it.
Larry, you have any closing words?
I just want to thank you all for allowing me the opportunity to come on and, give my opinion or option to people. I don't think that what I said is written in stone. I think that people have to go through their own process of finding love, but I think you have to put the ego away. The ego has to go. And if you don't let the ego go, you'll never find out what love is.
All right, Linda.
My closing word is, what? Everyone knows what love should feel like to them. And, there's a golden rule that we all should live by. And that is to do unto others if you would have them to do unto you. And that's what love speaks to. If you can be kind to others, be loving to others, take the opportunity to, live at a higher vibration in life. And I think the older we get, we should learn to calm down and do just that. So if you want to have questions or comments for me, you can inbox me as well. And also, you know how to get in touch with me at lindahartstreeter.com. And that is it.
There we
There you
go.
go.
Hey, it is 8 o'clock and we're about to sign out. Thank you guys every Friday, 7 to 8.
Oh, by the way, before you go, Stephen, and by the way, anyone, you guys, send us some topics for next week. And that way everyone will know that.
Yeah,
not just next week, but just moving forward. If there's a topic you want to discuss, inbox Stephen your topics.
Leave them right here on the screen and we'll talk about it. Anything you guys want, we got it. So it's 8 o'clock. We got to get out of here. We love you guys. And we'll go nowhere, guys.
Good night.
Good night.